Do you have any low point in your career or in life or?
I have always struggled with my mental health. I do have anxiety, and I would often um, beat myself up over very trivial things. Hi, my name is Lila. I'm currently 20 years of age. I am a student athlete and I have an immense passion for fashion.
Okay, let's talk more about football now. How does it feel to earn your first international cap for Singapore?
Honestly, it was really exhilarating. It was such a good feeling. I was so nervous.
How do you find football in Singapore?
It's still progressing very slowly. We don't even have a scoreboard. Sometimes we don't have a changing room. I believe all the women's club here, they're putting in so much effort and there's so much determination. And if only we have, equivalent opportunities as the men, I can only imagine the things we'll be able to do.
Many people listening to this podcast, they feel insecure, they lack confidence about themselves, their body, and you have openly spoke about going against these conventions. Why do you think it's so important to be comfortable in their own body and not let others define them?
A lot of people will inevitably, categorize you or interpret you a certain way in life, and it's important to know that you're much more than that. To only believe certain things that people talk about, we'll live our whole lives believing that we're devoid of something else. That sucks. It sucks that you won't be able to try something new just because people said that you're not good enough or you can't do certain things. I think I just like to tell myself that life would be so bland, so very bland, if everyone decided to conform to societal norms and follow traditional pathways.
So what's next? What's next?
So right now I'm having second thoughts. Yeah, I
Why not you introduce yourself briefly? Like, what's your name? What do you do?
Okay. Hi, my name is Lila. I'm currently 20 years of age. I am a student athlete and I have an immense passion for fashion.
Awesome. I really like that. And yeah, so before we talk about football, let's find out more about you, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me more about yourself. Aside from football, what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Well, with the limited free time I have, my favorite thing to do is probably discovering new cafes. I love to go like cafe hopping and I love reading as well. So I'm currently reading Five People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. Yeah.
5 people you
Yeah.
meet in heaven.
People You Meet in
Okay,
Heaven.
that's cool. And what's one of them?
Well, it's you have to read it. You have to read it
Okay,
sometime.
yeah, not gonna spoil it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, you lived in Shanghai for 14 years. I mean, I saw somewhere that you lived in for 14 years.
Yes, that's
And how does it feel growing up in Shanghai? Like, what do you think are the main differences between living in China and Singapore?
Well, in retrospect, growing up in Shanghai felt like a very surreal experience. I was still very, very young. I was surrounded by beautiful people, beautiful culture, amazing food. I was still very much a little baby at the time, so I was still discovering what I liked and what I didn't like. But I'd say one of the main differences would probably be like the space. Shanghai was huge compared to Singapore. Yeah, and there's a lot of things to do in Shanghai compared to Singapore, I'd say. Yeah.
Cool. How's the weather there compared to Singapore?
Oh, it's a full spectrum. You get
Yeah.
the whole deal. You get spring all the way to winter.
So
Yeah.
you get snow as well over there, yeah?
Yeah, there was a
Cool.
few years that it did snow.
Sweet. What's your favorite season?
Probably fall, just because it's so
Okay.
much more cooling. Yeah.
Just nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, do you have 3 siblings?
I do.
And
Three younger brothers.
3 younger
Yeah.
brothers, yeah. And you're the oldest.
Yeah, that's correct.
What does it feel like to be the oldest sister? Like, is it very noisy in the house? Do they play pranks on
Yeah.
you? Are you like a big loving sister? What is it like?
Well, let's just say it's never bland in the house. It's always loud, it's always busy, always chaotic. I guess as a sister, I have a lot of like responsibility naturally.
Hmm.
It comes with a lot of things you have to do. You have to take care of them, but at the same time, I guess it's never boring. So that's the perks of having three younger brothers. Yeah.
Awesome. And okay, let's talk more about football now. So,
Mhm.
what is your favorite position on the pitch?
My favorite position would be number 10, so attacking midfielder, but I'm currently playing as a striker, so number 9. I'm still acclimatizing to the position because it's a rather new one and I'm still not used to everything I have to do as a striker. But yeah, definitely prefer number 10.
Cool. And if you could only pick one, would you rather score or assist?
Assist. I
Wow,
would rather,
okay.
yes.
Interesting. And so how did your love for football begin? Like how did it all start?
Well, my family is an extremely sports orientated family. Like all my three siblings play football.
Hmm.
So I guess growing up, I would always do like different sports. And as my brothers started to play football, I would join them. So I joined their football club. And then progressively, I joined my own girls' club. I joined the school varsity team, and it just slowly like progressed from there. Yeah.
So wait, you picked up football at what age? In China, was it?
In China,
Okay,
I reckon I was around 12, 13. Yeah.
cool. So how does it feel to earn your first international cap for
Um,
Singapore?
Honestly, it was really exhilarating. It was such a good feeling. I was so nervous. My first cap was in Tajikistan for the AFC qualifiers, and it was just amazing. It was such a good feeling. Yeah.
Was it in 2021 or 2022?
2021. Yeah,
Yeah.
2021.
Was it a good experience? Was it a good first match?
It was a good first match for sure. It was a really intense game. And I believe I came in the second half, if I'm not wrong.
Hmm.
So I just try to stay as composed as I can, even though internally I was freaking out. But yeah, it was definitely a beautiful match.
So everything turned out well. But you definitely felt nervous, right? It's your first match, of
But
course,
yeah, it was my
for
first. Yeah,
Singapore. Yeah,
yeah.
cool. So do you have any low point in your career or in life or
Mm,
in football so far? Like any injuries or anything that made you upset?
well, no injuries, touch wood.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
But yes, definitely like many, many, many low points, I would say. I have always struggled with my mental health, so
Hmm.
like I do have anxiety and different issues, but I'd say that I'd say that it would my anxiety especially would affect a lot of things I do in my life. So with football as well on the field, it would take up a lot of my mental capacity, and I would often um, beat myself up over very trivial things. So it's definitely something I'm still working on for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Thanks for being so open and for sharing that and for being so vulnerable.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people will appreciate that.
I
Because
do.
a lot of people don't see what goes on behind the scenes, especially with pro athletes, right? They only see like the front or the surface level stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that goes behind, right? So
Yeah.
it's a good segue into the next question because I
Mhm.
mean you do a lot of things. So I wanted to ask like how do you juggle like studies, right? You're in uni,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
currently in NTU.
How do you juggle studies with football and modeling? I imagine your schedule must be so packed every week. And
Um,
yeah.
to be very frank, I'm still finding a balance myself.
Hmm.
But I believe if there's a will, there's always a way. Um, so yeah, as you said, I do part-time modeling and I'm in an agency, so they help me like regulate my schedule. But with football trainings, I have I have around 4 to 5 trainings a week.
Hmm.
So I have to try to find a balance. And I'm doing that by working on my time management skills, which is it's still very messy, but I'm definitely working on it. Yeah.
Cool. So you have 4 to 5 trainings a week for
Yeah.
football. Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's
I
intense.
used to I used to have I used to have it every day because of national training, but I'm
Yeah,
currently not in the squad, so
yeah.
I'm just focusing on my club trainings for now. Yeah.
Cool. And it's like, how long is like one training?
Um, it's around an hour and a half to two
Yeah.
hours. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Minus like the traveling time and minusing everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a form of exercise, so you're keeping fit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. So just I wanted to ask, like, well, what do you think? How do you find football in Singapore? Like women's football and do you think more awareness is needed? And if so, like, what can we do to raise more awareness about football for women in Singapore?
Um, I believe by simply offering equivalent opportunities and resources as the men football here, that would already be a huge step forward. Um, I believe all the women's club here, they're putting in so much effort and there's so much determination. And if only we have, equivalent opportunities as the men, I can only imagine the things we'll be able to do. So, yeah, little things such as just talking more about women's football, supporting, caring more about it, all these little things, it would definitely allow Singapore to raise more awareness on women's football.
That's cool. That's cool. And yeah, definitely more resources to be pumped in.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Because yeah, I do follow women's football. Globally,
Mm-hmm.
like I do watch the Women's World Cup and everything, and
Yeah.
it's getting so big, right? Like every year,
It's definitely
it's
getting
yeah,
big, yeah, but I feel like in Singapore, it's still progressing very slowly.
yeah.
Like we don't even have a scoreboard for our matches. We don't
Hmm.
have sometimes we don't have a changing room, etc. There's little, very trivial little things that definitely
Hmm.
could be improved on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think that I think that is why I also stopped
Yeah.
watching local football like since a decade ago. I mean, I remember when I was younger, uh, there was so much hype for
Yeah.
local football, like the old national stadium. I loved it so much, and I would always be very excited to go Jalan Besar Stadium and
Yeah.
go the national stadium, and there's so many people, and you watch matches, and then I don't know,
Yeah.
something just I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it can be a amalgamation of a lot of factors, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think definitely more needs to be done. So and yeah, that's good. And okay, I wanted to ask this question because
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick one. I remember back when I was younger, I was going through an incredibly tough period in my life where I had no one to talk to about my problems. There was no place I could share my honest thoughts and feelings because I was just so afraid of being judged by people. And I realized that was so bad for my mental well being. It's like bottling up everything and just waiting for a day where it all explodes. So, no, we're not gonna let that happen for you. Because my team and I have developed a free social app called huddle.so where you can share all your problems anonymously, whatever is currently on your mind that's bothering you, whatever is making you upset or giving you sleepless nights. This is a non-toxic app where you can just be yourself, heal, and make many wholesome friends that will be there for you to support you during difficult times. The app is currently available on iOS at the moment, so good news for iPhone users. But we are working really hard to get an Android version out as soon as we can, so we don't miss out on the rest of you. So trust me, download the app, give it a shot, and I guarantee you that your future you will thank you for taking care of yourself. I'll put the link in the description below as well, and I'll see you in Harvest.
okay, so you're mixed, right? So you're half Chinese, was it?
Yeah,
And
half Chinese and half French.
okay, cool. So you're kind of like Eurasian, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, growing up, how does that feel? Because I saw in an article that, and I'll quote you, you said that you found yourself not being able to fit in with your peers and you often
Mhm.
felt excluded. What do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like growing up in such different cultures, like I was born in Singapore, but I was raised in Shanghai, and now I'm back in Singapore. I feel like you're surrounded by a lot of different cultures, people, languages, whatever it is, and it's hard to really fit in and feel included. Just because every time you go to a different place, you still have to have that time to acclimatize and get used to your surrounding before even integrating yourself in anything. So definitely at the start when I just joined like the national team for instance, it was U19. It was quite hard to fit in with the culture, with the language. Like most of my teammates were Malay, so I did not understand the language. So it was hard for me to start, you know, immersing myself in the team. It definitely took a while. Yeah.
Cool, cool, 100%. I think, yeah, no, the reason why I asked that because I felt like yourself, right? I'm also Eurasian, so I'm half
Mm.
Dutch and half Chinese. And so I did resonate with that, growing
Yeah.
up. But I think the beauty of it is that aside from what you said, which I've also went through, and when I was living in Australia, felt the same way as well.
Mm.
But I thought it's amazing as well when you're a mix of two different cultures, that unique blend, and you can kind of sit in
Yeah.
between two cultures and you
Yeah.
enjoy like the occasions, and you appreciate like the traditions and everything. And it's yeah, I mean, as I grew up, I felt better fitting in. Like I could fit in with a lot of groups more
Yeah.
so than average. Like you have different groups, right? Like in
Yeah.
Australia, you have I don't want to go into it, but you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
different groups.
I agree, and it
Yeah.
makes it so much more interesting, like when you talk to people to learn about like their different cultures, and then you have your own like
Mhm.
things you can talk about, like so many life experiences and etc. So I definitely think there's a lot of perks to it as well. Yeah,
Yeah, that's beautiful. And how many languages do you speak?
I speak three.
Cool.
Yeah, and
Which
yourself?
I learned three languages, but I think I can only speak two. So
Uh,
is just English, Mandarin, and French. Yeah.
French.
And
Okay.
you?
Well, same. I speak
Same.
English, Mandarin, and French.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. But my
Yeah.
French is trash. Yeah. That's my third language. Yeah. Okay, so we're almost there. Okay, so all right. There are many people listening to this podcast, right? And they've mentioned to us, on our platforms that they feel
Yeah.
insecure, they lack confidence about themselves,
Mhm.
their body, and you have openly spoke about going against these conventions, and which I really respect, and especially in the space of modeling,
Yeah.
where typical standards revolve around, lean, slender physics, skinny physics.
Mhm.
Why do you think it's so important to reframe the narrative and, just allow people to embrace themselves, be
Yeah.
themselves, be comfortable in their own body, and not let like others define us or them.
Right. This is a really good question that actually took me a very long time to come to peace with. And I mean, I still have complications when it comes to this. I think a lot of people will inevitably, categorize you or interpret you a certain way in life. And it's important to know that you're much more than that. And to only believe certain things that, people talk about, we'll live our whole lives believing that we're devoid of something else. And that sucks. It sucks that you won't be able to try something new just because people said that you're not good enough or you can't do certain things. So I think I just like to tell myself that life would be so bland, so very bland, if everyone decided to conform to societal norms and follow traditional pathways. So yeah, I think it's difficult, but it's very essential to be your own person and feel comfortable in your own skin. I mean, I'm still struggling with this, still struggling with my body image, but it's definitely something that I feel like people should prioritize. Like it's something that you need to work on is to feel acceptance and feel comfortable and content with yourself. Yeah.
Beautifully put, and I really like that, like acceptance. That's a really strong word, and I love that. I think a lot of people feel lost, especially
Yeah.
at a young age, and
Yeah.
trying to understand themselves. And it's life is not a linear or straight line, right? There's
100%.
ups and downs, and
Yeah.
you're gonna get bumps along the way. But I mean, that's life. You're just finding out who you are, you and I, and
A
everyone
roller
else.
coaster. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I can see that it's definitely not easy, but I think you've been doing an incredible job using your platform to empower others and break down stereotypes that
Thank
people may
you.
have about women in sports or modeling standards, right? So, thank you
Yeah.
for that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there will be thanking you too. And I really appreciate it for what you've mentioned today, and also what you've been openly speaking about using a platform. And personally, I feel that as long as people are themselves, they're happy, they're not breaking any laws, they're not malicious towards
Yeah.
others. I don't see a reason why we as humans must not must look at each other in a different light or a negative light.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree.
Instead, I feel like we should be more inclusive of others
Hmm.
and embrace that uniqueness and individuality. Tongue twisters,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Yeah.
that's me anyway, and that's how I see life. But yeah, thank you so much. And so I wanted to ask, so what's next? What's next? for you? Like, you're still in uni.
Yeah.
Are you gonna finish uni soon?
I'm actually in my first year, so
Okay.
still have 2 more years to go through to tackle. Um, but I'm contemplating on perhaps I don't know if uni is the right choice for me. So right now I'm having second thoughts. Yeah, I don't know if it's the right thing for me to do now, but what's next to come, I don't know. There's still a lot of things I would like to do, and perhaps I'll take a step back and just contemplate on everything. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, no rush. Pace yourself
Mhm.
and see where life takes you. What opportunities arise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
everyone is sometimes pressurized. It's very pressurizing to always know what you want to do next or, your goals and everything. And sometimes it's better to just take a step back and look at everything from more of an objective view. So that's what I'm trying to do, I guess.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I resonate with that because I think, especially in Singapore,
Yeah.
when you go for like festivities. I mean, from what I'm hearing from my friends, I mean, thankfully I don't really experience as much because of the mixed culture. But
Yeah.
from what I hear from my Singaporean friends, there's a lot of comparisons. They're always, what are you gonna do next? And it's so pressurizing. It's so fast paced and everything.
Yeah.
And when I was living on the Gold Coast, like for the past 4 years in Australia, everything was much slower. It was like
Different, right?
it was like
Yeah.
like beach life, nature. Everyone's
Yeah.
chill. You get work done, and you get work done. That's it. You go home. You don't think about work,
Yeah.
and you just wear like I was just telling my friend yesterday. You just wear like a t-shirt, shorts, flip flops, and that's as cool as it can be, right?
Yeah.
They don't really like Singapore, like Australia. They don't really care much about like what watch you wear, what kind of branded shirt you wear. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so different. So when I was living there and I came back, yeah, it just really tweaked my mindset a lot. Like I became
Yeah.
more chill and became more understanding and try to, like you, right, take a step back and just see what options I have and not rush into things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
okay, so we've come to the end, and yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come
Yeah.
on the podcast. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of the weekend. Well, it's Sunday, but I wish you a great match later. I hope you score.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're all behind you. I mean, yeah, the country's behind you.
Hmm.
I'll follow you, and I just hope you do well in everything that you do. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the podcast. It was really insightful. And I love talking to you. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
No
And have a
worries.
beautiful weekend.
You too. Okay. I'll see
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Take care.
All
I'll update you if there's anything. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Take care.
Okay. See
Bye
you.
bye. I'd like to tell myself to talk to yourself like you're talking to someone you love. So always to tell myself positive thoughts. It's something I'm implementing in my self-talk, and yeah, so I believe that's very important. I
Yeah.
think that being positive, like talking to yourself in a positive manner, just instantaneously would allow you to view everything in a more positive light. So definitely very important.